right, welcome to another episode of Who Gives a Hoot. I'm Braden. We have JR, Kyle, Luke's not here today. He had things to do apparently. Uh, but it's been a decent 24 hours since we've lost and got knocked out of the Open Cup. Uh, but I have to say, right away, uh, we've never lost to anyone below MLS, so I guess we can keep that streak going.
In the Open Cup, we finally lost
Yeah.
our first
Yeah.
lost to our first championship team against New Mexico.
True.
Yeah. I mean, it was if we want to hop into it, yeah, it was honestly a pretty close game, I thought, throughout the first half. There were chances either side. Second half opened up a bit more. St. Louis fans were very kind, all those that we spoke to. So it seemed, I mean, it helped once they scored. But
I mean, I saw you on the stream multiple times, Kyle. So big shout outs for being behind goal there.
yeah, I mean, it was a small section, but we tried. Unfortunately, both the goals were scored on our end,
Yeah.
so that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
First half was so little nervy in the beginning. I think not having Dion, not having Dion showed real quick. Joe improved as the game went on, but early on he was kind of getting burned a little bit, and that's where it seemed like St. Louis was wanting to focus their attack on from that side. But I thought all three center backs had great first halves, especially Wusu. It was a little disappointing to see him taken off at the half. That tells me that that had to have been planned with
Yeah, I
three
mean,
games in 8 days.
because he played the full Madison game, right?
That's a good question. I'll look
I
that up. I don't.
I think he might have. And so having that switch makes sense, especially if you're saying that maybe Anderson plays a good chunk of Saturday's game, like that. I can see that rotation just kind of being built in.
But yeah, I can agree with at least on defense. I liked what we were seeing, at least for even during the first half, even though it was a little
Mhm.
bit nervy. Uh, I mean, my impression overall was that it was just being a solid defensive line like we've been trying to do the entire season. And
Yeah.
anything that gets past us is more or less based on what's going on, dependent on the play, not so much dependent on the players themselves.
I will admit we got a little, I mean, it's getting ahead of ourselves a bit. We got a little bit burned on the second one. I feel like we could have defended that one a little bit better. But yeah, that the first half we were really good. The thing that really stood out to me and continues to stand out to me, at least over the past few games this season, is that one, our free kicks are awful. We can't generate anything from free kicks, and maybe that's just height disadvantage. I don't know, but free kicks are not doing
Height,
well.
the height disadvantage was hard to ignore last night, especially. You go up against these teams that, you know, they're all going to be at least 6'1", 6'2", and that when they're all that tall, it's just a huge disadvantage. But I'm sorry, I
Mhm.
interrupted you.
No, no, totally, yeah. So it's free kicks, and then second thing is, and we finally did a little bit, but we can't get shots on target. Our best opportunities go wide, and especially if we're thinking about one in the second half, went wide, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like saved off the line or anything. It was just wide.
Yeah.
So
Was looking back at the last couple games. We have not scored in 3 games, and we have only scored one in our past 5 matches. Uh,
we've only had a few shots on target too, because in Madison we had no shots on target.
yeah. Uh, Fought Mob and the team published no shots on target. I don't know about anyone else, but
Hmm.
it sure didn't look like it. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the big question at the moment because our defense can do well enough for us, I'd say. They're not letting much past them besides maybe a couple play things, whatnot. Uh, but we don't have really anyone generating offense up front. I don't know, like, and the hard part too is that like, especially, and I hate going back to the fact that we lost a lot of offensive pieces, but we're also having players essentially like you took one half of whatever position they were playing, whether you're in midfield with like Schneider and Pedro, or you have Aron and Lagos up front. So, like they don't have that other piece with them that they're used to playing with. Uh, and then you're putting in new guys who haven't played in the system, haven't played with Dom before, or whatnot. Uh, and that I understand that's a hard thing to do, but at the same time, you need to at least be getting some sort of offensive generation. And I'm okay if we don't score, but I want to make it seem like we're actually going for it. And I don't.
There's anything then to take from that game that's positive. Wooten was great in the second half. So he's, late arrival. It's starting to look like he and Schneider in the midfield that's probably going to be the midfield pairing as the season goes on. And I'd like to see those guys play together more. They obviously were teammates last year. So maybe starting to get a familiar connection there is going to be what spurs the offense going forward in the season.
Well, I have to give a few props as well. Wamry, even though he had the miss where really should have just put it on target, I thought his play was the best we've seen him so far this season. I thought he did a lot of good hold up play, a lot of good job on the ball, holding things up and everything.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Given his pedigree at Chattanooga FC last year, being their top scorer, getting double-digit goals and assists, and it's hard to be that guy, I'm sure, for him. When you're brought in to score goals, you're not getting that, and it's a tough. It's a tough turnaround. Like as much as we want to think that our team is playing consistently in terms of minutes, they really haven't had that time to gel. They haven't had that time to be at home. They've been traveling a lot. It's a tough schedule.
Wamry, did he come on? He did not come on at the half, right?
No, he came on at like 60 minutes, maybe something like that.
60 or 70.
He came on for Aron, right?
Yeah.
One of them came on for Aron, and then someone else came on for Mish. Oh, or Stavaro also came on at that time.
So that might have been the first time Wamry and Gomez weren't on the field. So it might be that Wamry is more comfortable kind of playing a role similar to what Aron plays when he's on the field, right? And Wamry and Amish have played together, but they've not played, but it's not like they've played together with Aron not being on the field, right? They're probably playing as wings opposite of Gomez up top. So I think you're seeing maybe him playing a little bit more, him playing a position on the field where he's more used to playing and a little bit more comfortable playing. And
interesting.
We're getting to the part of the season now where Dom's going to have to figure out, do I need to, like, are we best with this guy playing his best position, or are we best with my best player or one of my best players playing a position that's not where they're at their peak, but I can get somebody else that plays at this position at their peak. It's the sooner we get there, I think the sooner we'll see the offense improve. But I think that's what it's going to take without a true natural goal scorer that is going to be assigned with, hey, you're scoring 18 goals for us this year.
Yeah. And then I guess just to go back to the defense, because Anderson came in the second half and I thought did very well. We kind of scooched over Marco to the middle, Coleman to the right. And I think the first goal, there wasn't much we could do about. That was just, it was hit very well off the volley. And Shido had a great game. Shido had an incredible game, but just couldn't quite get to that one. The second goal, we overcommitted, and we probably could have done better.
You look at that first goal initially, you're thinking Shido should have had it, but that ball did some funny moving. It was not an easy one to handle, and he started off position more than it appeared. when you were just looking at the initial angle of the shot.
Yeah, and there were a bunch of shouts in the stadium for handball at the time. I didn't see if it actually hit one of our players in the box, but I know there was like a massive confusion kind of happening with that as well. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Cheeto definitely like half a man of the match at the very least, if not a full man of the match. At least for his performance, I can't fault him for anything. Uh, I mean, who do you guys think is your man of the match besides Cheeto? Like in terms of like
Mine's Wooten, and I would have
Putin?
probably
yeah.
it would have been between him and Owusu had Owusu played the whole game. I mean, you can only imagine how his second half would have been, but I thought Wooten was great. I thought he his intermediate passing was great. It's not the kind of long passes that we're used to seeing Charlie go to Dion's side and vice versa, but it's not the short passes that you just see where somebody is just going back and forth keeping the ball on the ground. It's those in between passes that he seemed to really thrive with last night.
Yeah, I mean, I did really like Wooten. I would probably still say Cheeto just because there were some of those that I swore were going to be in. I swore we were going to let another goal, and then somehow he pulls off a stop, and then maybe even a little bit of a appreciation too to Marco for a goal line clearance on the one time that Cheeto came out a little bit. They tried to get in behind, and Marco cleared it off the line.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was working at the time. I wasn't able to catch everything, but places I could catch in the amount of time I was able to watch, I feel like I want to say this is a better game than Madison, even though we lost. But I feel like I don't know. It's hard to gauge that, especially against MLS opposition. But given the effort and how we played, I feel like it was a little bit better.
I thought
There
the
was a
first
shorter
half.
stretch.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There was a shorter stretch in the second half, probably about 10 minutes that looked like that 25-minute stretch in Madison in the second half where, again, we didn't get a shot on target, but the guys were playing really comfortable and they were almost able to predict where the next pass was going to go before the
That was
pass even
that
happened.
was that was right after the subs came in. We put our subs in. We looked great, and then they got some counters and were able to end up getting that first goal. And then we definitely were overpowered kind of from that point on.
And then the speed of the game kind of came back.
Yeah, especially because after that first goal is when they subbed in their like a couple of their better players who started out on the bench.
Yeah, they had a couple of their
Klaus came
DPs come in.
Lone came in.
Yeah, big guns. But I mean, you can't complain. It's an MLS club. Even if it is a one that's a little down and out. And granted, the rest of the USL did not really have much success on the night besides Pittsburgh. So
there was some wild ones. I don't know how El Paso threw that away.
yeah, that was the big one. That was the big one. El Paso did throw it a little bit.
And then Indy lost on pens, which was also very close. But yeah.
But yeah, no, we did win the third division cash prize this time around again. We got $50,000. That's a pretty big sum, especially lower leagues wise.
That's a player's salary.
Yeah, that's a player salary, and I believe most of it goes to bonuses as well. I don't remember what tweet it was, but I know the Cup US tweeted about it once New York City FC won it last year, at least for their two side whatnot. So big ups for all the players for getting that, even if it was just by simply advancing just as far as everyone, but doing it in such a style that we didn't have to go to penalties or overtime.
Chattanooga got just as far as we did, winning in penalties every time.
Yeah,
you can tell when a team has earned their place there versus when they have not.
Yeah, Chattanooga playing against Nashville seemed like an odd thing because I fully expected them to be out at least 2 rounds ago. But same time, good.
They kept it close too. It was only 1-0.
That result surprised me a little bit, especially since if not paying attention to MLS this year, but just looking at the table, and Nashville are like above middle of the table, but you look at goals scored and against it, there are goals scored by the buckets in their games. I don't know how that game was just 1-0 without seeing any of the highlights.
Yeah, BJ Callahan as the head coach from Nashville does some pretty good work. I'm now making me think he should have been head coach instead of
Oh
Berhalter if that's
gosh,
how many goals they're scoring.
I forgot he was there. I forgot that's
Yeah,
where he went.
yeah. Like the best example was
Hey,
when Nashville
he won
played
it.
Chicago.
He won a Nations League.
Yeah, he did win a Nations League. He did win Nations League. Uh, but no, yeah, like example is like Nashville played Chicago, so it's Berhalter versus Callahan and whatnot, and Nashville absolutely smoked them. I think the final score was like 7-2.
Yeah, but there's more problems at Chicago than just Berhalter.
I honestly don't think Berhalter is the problem there, so
Yeah.
that's a start at least.
Hey,
But
you know what? He taught his son, and his son is there scoring Champions League winning goals.
yeah,
CONCACAF Champions League winning goals. But yeah,
yeah, we will see Vancouver playing. Are they playing Cruz Azul? I think. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So that'll be a fun matchup for all the sickos that want to stay up late watching that. That might include me, but uh, we have a home match coming up. We actually have a home match finally.
Scheduled home match.
Scheduled, not
What?
not a cup match, not a random thing coming up, just a actual legitimate home match at Warner Park.
Wild. I didn't think we did those anymore.
It's funny because like I didn't. It's been so long since I touched the grass at Warner Park. I've like for all the listeners out there, I've been just stuck in my basement this entire time. I've not done anything. Uh, and I'll actually get to touch grass at Warner Park on the berm finally. But all right, what are we thinking? What are we gonna do?
Well, it is Portland. Portland has I don't want to say struggled, but they haven't quite put it together yet. Is maybe what I'd say, right? They're a hardworking team. They've gotten a lot of draws so far, right? 3 draws out of 4 games. Um, so I think they'll be a tough team to beat.
5
I
total goals scored in their 4 league games. They're having it's almost kind of a combination of some of our early games with J Mims and some of Madison's early games where first one to score, let's try to win it from there and then bunker it. It's but Portland still seems like they're the kind of team that we're talking about them now as being close to the bottom of the table. But then in the second half of the season, I could see them making a run and either they sneak into the playoffs or they just miss it. They're kind of going to be like, they're kind of going to be like how Spokane was, just in reverse. And well, no, NoCo had that kind of a run their first season, right?
They did, yeah.
They struggled real bad out the gate, and they kind of respectably ended the season, just didn't make the playoffs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they have too much talent on the roster to for that not to be possible.
I mean,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna say that we're it's weird. We're out of the playoff spots quite well, with a win we could potentially get back into the playoff spots, but we are at least currently out of the playoff spots.
Well,
Admittedly, only 4 games played,
yeah.
but still.
Yeah, 4 games played. I think everyone else at the top has played 7. I believe the only undefeated
Knoxville.
teams, yeah, Knoxville, yeah, and they're in third place, and because they still have a game in hand, whatnot. Uh, I don't know. I mean, uh, I've watched a couple of Portland's games. I was able to watch their home opener against Knoxville. Their goal came at a great time. It was one they got back instead of them being up and then getting scored on. Uh, but I feel like they're trying to be like Naples, being very good at home, or Avialta also being very good at home. But they haven't had that ability yet to do so. And because they've played so many away days, they're just gonna struggle. But I don't
Well,
know how it's gonna.
that was their first home game in the league, right? The
Yeah,
Knoxville
that was their
game.
first home game. Yeah, and that was their very first home game at their home stadium because during the Open Cup they played at a high school stadium, like
An hour away.
yeah, an hour away. Yeah.
They're playing in a high school stadium now, though, right?
Yes, it's a different high school stadium.
It's renovated though and redone,
yeah.
and it's actually in Portland, which is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
No
we
comment.
can't say anything. We're not in Omaha. We're
No.
in Papillion. But
Yeah.
like, I want to see, like, more than anything, at least for us, I want to see us play like we have home field advantage, play like we're trying to get something, and more than just not going through the motions. I want these guys to actually come out and go for it.
It'll be interesting because our players haven't, I mean, at least some of them haven't played on the pitch at Werner before. So the kind of the narrow, the short nature of it might be
Yeah.
a little different for people. We'll have to see how that goes.
I mean, tomorrow, Friday, might be the first time a lot of them step foot on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it's who knows if they got it ready. Who knows if they've got it ready for soccer by today, by Thursday, because today wouldn't be a practice anyway. Today would kind of be a recovery, and you're just maybe
Travel.
you walk around and maybe you might walk around and kind of do just a walkthrough of game plan. But
Mhm.
I'm with you, Braedon, in that I wanna see us just like nose to goal and go for it. But if we do not have Dion and Charlie in their respective positions to track back, defend, I'm afraid of the defense getting caught. And it's with with the short pitch at Werner, that's especially if you've not played a wide defensive position before where it's short and wide, and you maybe spatially don't recognize where you are. You've never played on those dimensions before. Track back defending in those kind of situations scares me if you're not comfortable with it.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. I can definitely see why that's a problem.
We
And
we
then
might see Dion. I don't know how. I think it might have just been a little knock. So I don't know if he'll be ready to go or not, but we'll see.
Yeah. But the other worry, of course, is we are also playing against former assistant coach Owl, Bobby Murphy, for the very first time. And granted, it's been a long time. He's never played against Dom, was never under Dom, but he's still familiar with the pitch. He's familiar with the atmosphere. I don't know if that's an edge or anything at this point, given that, but that's also another thing to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep.
it's not like there's going to be a lot of Portland players that aren't familiar with playing at Werner either.
True.
A lot of guys that we played against before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who've at least played once or twice, yeah.
Because I know they have Keegan on Portland's roster now.
Liotti.
Yeah.
Quinones, Langley, JT Kamara, right?
Yep.
Okay.
But
wait, JT
I don't
Kamara is
remember.
in the league, but not with them. I don't remember who he's with.
I don't
Now it's going to
remember.
bother me. Sorry, I will look it up.
okay, maybe not. But you know what? Maybe it's going to be like a 50-50 at this point in terms of who's going to be better on the field. I think it's definitely. I don't know.
He is in Portland.
I hope that the fans are able to help it, especially you could tell they really wanted at least a goal last night. They were really working and they were really disappointed that they didn't get that. It seems like they're going to come out firing, or at least are going to attempt to. So
Yeah.
But is it you were there last night? Do they look like they're pressing, or do they look like they're just putting forward maximum effort? Because I think there's a difference. When you're pressing, then that has the potential to snowball. But at the very least, then beginning of the next game, it's blank canvas. It's your chance to cast all that aside. But then the longer you go, if you're pressing, heavier the load is.
yeah, I don't know. It was I could see it being as them really really wanting it to, and again with not being able to put shots on target, with free kicks still being an issue, like we got to find some solution to that, right? We have to find some solution.
I mean, It seems very similar to 2023 initially with Dom and working with a lot of new players, a lot of old players who have been with us for a little bit, and just trying to find what works and eventually finding that key. And I don't remember when did we kind of find our rhythm. It wasn't until really July in 2023. And at that point, we were still a little bit
Yeah,
outside of the
July.
playoffs at that point. And I mean, we scored a lot of goals. We got scored on a lot. We
We
had
give up a lot of 2-goal leads
yeah, we
in
gave up a
early
lot of 2-goal
2023.
leads. I think the best example of the most frustrating match that year was against Greenville 3-3 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, great, we drew that match, but I think it's going to be very similar this year. Maybe not scoring as many goals, but it. I don't want to say we need to have faith in Dom, whatever, because we're not at that point. I think he's definitely earned the trust from all of us. I'd say, regardless of the outcome, I'd say like let's keep going. Let's trust him. I don't know. Like it's not desperate. Like it's way too early in the season. We've already played 4 matches. We have 26 more to go.
We're nowhere close to
Yeah.
we're nowhere close to having like found a rhythm yet.
Yeah. No.
Even
We're close.
not just a rhythm of how to play, but just a rhythm of when we play.
Yeah. And
any kind of routine. The guys deserve that chance. The guys deserve the chance to, be on a regular week of, okay, Monday's this, Tuesday's this, oh, Wednesday's going to be this, and getting, building up to Saturday.
Yeah. And then of course there's the fact that what was I going to get at? Damn it, I lost my train of thought. I mean, you talk about rhythm like that, whatever. We haven't had much time to play also, but I don't know. It's a long season at the end of the day. Oh yeah, and here's the thought. Yes, we've lost a couple matches, whatever, and especially for a fan base that has been so used to winning. I don't remember the exact stat at one point last year, but we had not like lost at home or lost in any like competitive match for the longest time. We probably will be losing a lot more this year. I don't want to be that guy like, oh, it's doom and gloom, whatever. But it's definitely not the same team. It's going to get hard to be used to, especially given how early it is and how we're not even close to the end of the season.
Well, it is. It is May. Let's take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
I know.
It is the first half of May.
It's first half of May, but yeah, but like it's hard, like especially for my feelings as well. It's hard to lose and accept that from as a fan right now because we're so used to winning.
It's I think what it is with me is that I'm fine with how we're playing as long as we don't continue to lose. Like I hope we start winning some, but what's really disappointing is just what I kind of mentioned before, right? That it doesn't seem like we're putting ourselves in a position to win. Where if we would do that and then still not win, okay, that happens, But the fact that we're not getting shots on target, it's like you can't win that way. You have to do that. So that's the really the frustrating element for me. But if we start doing that, then at least it's like, okay, we're putting ourselves in that position.
I'd say that's kind of like the big thing. Let's put ourselves in a position to win. Put it on Saturday at the very least, one game at a time. I mean, I guess we don't really need to talk too much besides unless we want to do score predictions. But
I thought one of the positives of Luke not being here was no score prediction.
Oh, right. I mean, we don't have to, but I think we should do a score prediction.
I mean, I hope we win. I will just say that. I don't know the score. It'll probably be by 1 goal, is my guess, but that's about it.
I mean, yeah, 1-0 feels like a very safe prediction.
Very safe. Okay. All right. I'm gonna buck the trend and say we win 3-0.
I mean, that's just doing Luke.
Yeah, you're making sure that some sort of streak continues when it comes to a 3-0 prediction.
Hey, someone's got to be confident enough to say what everyone wants to hear, but knows isn't possible. But in reality, it will happen. We will win 3-0.
Yeah, the club won 5 trophies with that tradition, so I won't fight it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, besides that, we also have a Guard of Honor and a ring ceremony coming up on Saturday to celebrate winning the league last year. Very first time we've ever done anything like this. Uh, don't know what time it is at the moment, but apparently it's going to be like an hour before kickoff.
We want to do it before warm-ups instead of before the team comes on the field, which I'm sure logistically that's probably the only way to do it. Can't have fans in what essentially is the middle of the outfield of a baseball stadium and then have them get up a ramp while you're trying to then have, you know, other pregame ceremonies being taken care of and everything like that.
My next question is, are they sending the rings to all the players that left this past offseason? Or is it going to be a couple of them that are like traveling to Omaha just for the ring ceremony?
Players that were on the team last year that could play against us here, I bet they were given an option, but there aren't that many that are in League One that were on the team last year. Just Lucas off the top of my head is the only one I can think of. And
Okay.
Wallace.
It depends on
Yeah.
if Will would qualify. I don't think he would.
No, I don't think he did. I don't think he had enough appearances.
Who would qualify?
Will Perkins.
Yeah,
Because
he's on the roster.
he's
Will count.
he's
That's right, he's
at
at Texoma.
Texoma. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the only one I don't know. I
Uh,
mean, we probably won't play Pedro just because they're not in our Jaeger group at all.
unless we hit it, unless it's knockouts, but
Unless it's
yeah.
knockouts, yeah.
And then
Asking a lot.
Steven is, and then Dos Santos
Retired.
is retired. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say let's just hope they send the rings and they're able to show it off at some point because they all deserve it.
They tease what they look like yet?
Yeah, they've teased. I don't think we've actually seen anything though. They've just teased like the box that they're coming in.
Okay, so nothing about how it actually looks like and its makeup.
Yeah.
Okay.
My only joke with the whole rings is that Wallace can show it around along with everyone else on Madison that one ring just to show
Well,
them
gosh,
what like.
they could play half starting 11 with the ring.
Yeah, they could. Too bad it's the only ring that they will win there, or at least they'll have there. So, but besides that, got tailgate for Parliament beforehand for pregame. It's gonna be in a different location this year by one of the entrances. There's that. Am I missing anything else?
I don't think so. I think everything is. Gosh, we all almost have to learn how to go to a game at Warner Park again.
Yeah, it's very much getting the like very first home game, very first like doing through the entire process for everybody. But I'm excited for it. It's gonna be nice to be out there.
Be the first time in a while that our home opener has been with really good weather. So I typically we don't have great crowds for home openers because of that. I hope this bucks the trend.
Yeah, I can agree with that because I think like the only time where a home opener was like decent in terms of weather was like during 2021 season, and that was during COVID restrictions were still in place. I think we could only do
And
2,000
that
people.
that was kind of an anomaly because that was like an early April game, but like wasn't it wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold.
Yeah,
I mean, we've had worse weather games that time of year, but
yeah. I'd say it's gonna be very nice. I haven't checked the
90 on
weather.
Saturday.
90? Oh damn.
Almost, yeah.
Oh, it's too warm.
But
I
I don't think it's going to be that humid. I think it's supposed to be as comfortable as 88, 89 degrees can be.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But
With how
if you've not been out in the sun yet, it's time that'll catch you. So just prepare.
Yeah.
wear sunscreen, especially for me, the ginger that I am. But I mean, if any of you has been outside, has been listening, you know it's been pretty nice out, even with a little bit warmer weather. Nights have been very cool. Uh, So yeah, I'm happy for good weather. There's nothing else to say about that. But any other news league wide that we need to talk about?
Excited to play 2 league games within a week.
2 league games within a week. Yeah.
And we have a normal schedule. We start to have a normal schedule.
Yeah, we start having a normal schedule.
Sorta until we start playing. Until we start playing Wednesday, Saturdays at home, like there's no tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll put in normal with quotations because we're not home again until a month after this as well. But
yeah, that's true.
True too.
Normal.
For the next month, we will play 1 game a week on a weekend.
Actually, my next question, at least for the players, is that do they need like housekeeping on their like plants for like their apartments and whatnot? Because like with the amount of time that they're gone for this like stretch, like they gotta have at least someone around, right?
Assuming a bunch of single guys in their early 20s have plants in their apartment that need keeping track of is an assumption there, Braedon.
Hey, you never know. Like it's a great hobby. Keeping a plant is a great hobby.
I agree. It was not in my mind when I was in my early 20s.
They might have pets. That's what I would see more. But yeah.
Yeah, pets as well. Yeah. But I mean, how bad can it be, right? You just need to make sure that you come and water the plants and do nothing else. But I hope they have that because they are not seeing their beds often, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. I mean, I got nothing else to talk about. Anything else we want to talk about real quick?
I think we are all set.
All right. I guess I got one question. Who gives a hoot? We do.
We do.